5 Star Trek. Voyager Season 2 episodes you can completely skip. Star Trek. Voyager had one of the most ambitious setups in the franchise. A Federation starship flung 70,000 light-years from home, forced to survive in hostile and uncharted space. That premise gave the writers a playground full of possibilities, but not every episode in the show's early seasons lived up to its potential. Season 2 in particular is uneven. For every classic like Death Wish or Tuvix, there's a clunky misfire that feels skippable on rewatch. If you're revisiting Voyager and want to streamline the journey through Season 2, here are 5 episodes you can safely skip without losing much in terms of story or character development. 1. Elogium, Episode 4. One of Voyager's earliest stumbles, Elogium tries to explore Kes's biology, but ends up feeling awkward and dated. The plot centers on Kes prematurely entering her species' mating cycle due to space-dwelling lifeforms affecting her physiology. The concept might sound like an opportunity for thoughtful sci-fi storytelling, but the execution leans into uncomfortable gender politics and clumsy humor. The episode is infamous for its treatment of pregnancy as a quirky, comedic inconvenience rather than a meaningful choice. Neelix's jealousy and insecurity also drag the narrative down, making it harder to connect with either character. Later seasons flesh out Kes in much stronger ways, so this early misstep is both forgettable and unnecessary. Why skip? It doesn't add anything lasting to Kes's arc and feels painfully dated compared to later, more nuanced Star Trek explorations of relationships and reproduction. 2. Threshold, Episode 15. Arguably the most notorious episode of Voyager, and often cited as one of the weakest in all of Star Trek. In Threshold, Tom Paris breaks the Warp 10 barrier, which supposedly allows him to exist in all points in the universe at once. Instead of enlightenment, however, the experiment mutates him into a salamander-like creature. The episode veers from bold to bizarre in record time. The infamous Paris and Janeway as lizards subplot, complete with off-screen amphibian offspring, is remembered more as a punchline than a serious attempt at science fiction. While it's occasionally fun as a campy curiosity, Threshold is totally skippable on a rewatch because it has zero lasting consequences. Paris and Janeway are back to normal by the next episode, and the salamander babies are never mentioned again. Why skip? It's legendary for all the wrong reasons and adds nothing to Voyager's larger narrative. 3. Innocence, Episode 22. This Tuvok-centric episode had promise. After all, Tuvok is one of Voyager's most interesting characters, and any spotlight on him is usually worthwhile. Unfortunately, Innocence squanders the opportunity. The story follows Tuvok as he crashes on a moon and encounters alien children he must protect. The twist, that these children are actually members of a species that ages in reverse, is supposed to be poignant, but the execution feels heavy-handed and predictable. Instead of deepening Tuvok's character or giving us meaningful insight into Vulcan philosophy, the episode plays like a low-budget morality tale. Compared to stronger Tuvok episodes like Meld or Learning Curve, this one is simply forgettable. Why skip? The reverse aging twist is interesting in theory, but dull in practice. Tuvok's character growth is minimal, and nothing here impacts future stories. 4. Twisted, Episode 6. On paper, Twisted sounds intriguing. Voyager is trapped in a space phenomenon that distorts the ship's internal layout, leaving the crew wandering endless corridors. Unfortunately, the execution turns this into one of the most frustrating hours of the season. Instead of a clever puzzle or tense thriller, the story devolves into repetitive scenes of crew members running in circles. The climax is especially unsatisfying. The anomaly is resolved not through ingenuity, but by the crew simply waiting it out. Even more baffling is that all the ship's data is scrambled, yet by the next episode everything is inexplicably restored. Why skip? Nothing of consequence happens. The ship maze premise has potential, but the payoff makes the episode feel like a waste of time. 5. Parturition, Episode 7. Neelix and Tom Paris are trapped on a dangerous planet, forced to cooperate while caring for an alien hatchling. The episode is intended to resolve their ongoing rivalry over Kes, but it plays out like a contrived sitcom setup rather than compelling sci-fi. Paris and Neelix's bickering feels petty, and the baby alien subplot, complete with feeding and caretaking scenes, tries too hard to be heartwarming. By the end, their feud over Kez is conveniently wrapped up, but the resolution feels unearned and shallow. Later episodes build Paris into a stronger character without relying on this clumsy storyline. Why skip? It's filler that exists mainly to stop Neelix and Paris from fighting, something the series could have handled.